Well, hello there everyone. My name is Neko and welcome to my first official speed paint. First off, you can watch this video one of two ways. You can mute me, trust me, I won't judge, and put your favorite music to watch to this. That way you can listen to your favorite music and I won't have to worry about getting a copyright strike. It's a win for everyone, really. Or if you're feeling a little lonely, need to hear someone's voice, or just like listening to people ramble, you can just leave the audio on. Now, for any artists out there, did you ever see, hear, or read something where you just go, oh, I have to draw that or I'm going to die? That's how I came up with this idea. I was minding my own business, scrolling through Twitter, you know, the usual stuff you do when you have no real social life, and I happened to come across this tweet from Jacksepticeye, and it said that he had his eyes checked, and now he has to get glasses. Well, as a glasses wearer myself, I'm thinking how adorable Jack would look in glasses, and my heart went, you need to draw this right now. But unfortunately, my brain won and said, what do you think this is? Pictionary? It's 11 p.m. and we are going to bed. So I slept on the idea. And lo and behold, I was gifted with a snow day the next day. Yeah. So I started up my sigh, whipped out my drawing tablet, and began sketching out this little masterpiece. Right now, it looks like I'm finishing up the line art. Oops, I missed a spot. And there's a spot I cut out here. It was just basically me going over the line art and fixing any lines that I didn't like, and it's all boring stuff. You really don't want to see, like, color picking and checking to make sure everything's the way it's supposed to be. If I want to change the color of the line art, which I will be doing later in this video. All just general stuff that I do behind the scenes that maybe I'll do if I ever stream. I don't know, we'll see. Color picking is probably the hardest thing I have to do as an artist because I hate coloring. I just with a passion. I love line arting. I love the clean lines. I love getting everything right. And then the coloring comes along and suddenly I don't want to be an artist anymore. So I cut out me just being picky about colors and experimenting what I want to do and stuff like that. Right now I am finishing up coloring. Oh, his teeth. Looks like I'm in the jacket area now. When I color, I like to outline what I'm coloring and then fill it in later because I'm lazy and I don't want to color in all that other stuff. I mean, some people have therapeutic coloring. They get all these really neat adult coloring books, and that's cool. If you love coloring, that's totally fine. I mean, if you want to color for me, that'd be great. But for me, coloring is more of a stressful thing because colors can throw off your entire picture if they're not right. I mean, if you want a light mood and you put too many dark colors, it's going to cross negative. But if you took too many light colors in, it's going to read off as pastel, and it's just a nightmare sometimes. So I opted out and I used normal colors I would see on Jack, like his blue hoodie and his gray pants, which I kind of stole from Legends of the Bro Fist, but we're not going to talk about that. Oh, and I think as I stopped coloring, I realized that I was streaming and I totally forgot to change the quality of what my art was supposed to look like. It was still streaming quality, which is why it looks like you're trying to see through mayonnaise right now. Something that I did with this picture that I don't usually do is add a background. Now what you're going to see for the next few seconds is me just fiddling around, trying to find out what I like with the background. It kind of looks like Swiss cheese at one point. Oh god, what was I thinking? But when it comes to backgrounds, I'm not very, that's a neat gradient effect. I'm not very, what's the word I'm looking for? Decisive. There we go. Backgrounds are sometimes a pain for me. And oh, I fixed the quality, look at that. And I also decided on the background. The way that I had Jack drawn is he's supposed to be looking up at the camera. This is kind of an excuse just to get me to play with perspective and stuff like that. So the background had to emphasize that he was looking up at the camera. And every time I kept adding these dots and it just kept looking like he was looking up and his torso was really short and he ended up looking like a midget. And Jack's already short enough, we don't need to do that to him, the poor baby. But as you can see, I'm coloring up the hair right now. My coloring process is a little bit boring, if you if I want to say. Oh, I forgot part of the glasses. Sometimes I'll discover as I'm drawing my picture that, oh, I forgot to do something, or I forgot to add something in. And I quick have to go back to that layer and add it in, or just ixnay the whole thing and forget it ever happened, which usually often than not happens. When it comes to coloring my clothing, I'm particularly picky. It's sometimes a single shade, it's sometimes a... Oh, excuse me. It's sometimes more than one shade. The only reason I have a single shade here is because I do have a background. When I don't have a background to play with, I usually just end up using colors that I want. Like, it'll be a different shade of blue, a different shade of gray, different shade of pink, peach, stuff like that. But since I have to incorporate it in the background, I have to use different colors of orange. And the colors that I picked this time were a burnt orange kind of color for the shading and a light yellow for the highlights. Because if I went with an orange highlight, it looked a little bit too wishy-washy, and I didn't really like that. And I wanted to keep it fun and cute and hyperactive because Jap's a hyper person, and I wanted to have a little bit of a reflection of his personality. Plus, I kind of like the emphasis of the blue sweatshirt against the orange background. And what you're watching right now is just me coloring the line art. Sometimes I color the line art, sometimes I leave it black, sometimes I leave it brown. It all depends on what I want to do with the picture, but in this case I decided I didn't really like the way the black outline came with. It looked a little bit too cartoonish, and that wasn't really what I was going for here. I was looking for something fun and creative and line arty. Oh, I forgot shadows on the hoodie. See, sometimes I just have to go back and fix what I did. And right now I'm adding shading to the skin. Now the skin is really tricky to shade with just one color like I'm doing. Thankfully I was working with an orange, so it didn't really matter that much. But usually if I go into my color pickers, I have different skin tones where I have already pre-shaded colors picked out. And depending on the way I want the picture to look depends on what color I add into the shading. Now this time I could get away with an orange because I already had the orange picked out for the whole shading, but if I had like a blue color or something, it wouldn't look really nice on the skin. It would look kind of like he was dead. So I prefer sometimes to just pick my own colors for the skin. This time, not so much. Oh, it looks like we're coming up to the end, and in a moment I'm going to reveal the picture. After I finish a little bit of highlights on the skin, I'm really picky with my highlights on the skin as well. Sometimes I add them, sometimes I don't. But if we're looking at the background, it was yellow already, so bright colors, gonna need a little bit of shading. Sometimes I don't pick the right colors for the line art, and oh, this is just a mess. Okay, here we go. Looks like, there it is, the final picture of Jacksepticeye. And if you like this, give it a thumbs up and let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and bye now.